I used to think it's selfish to think of yourself first because there's so many people that you want to help and that's relying on you. Taking time to just like reflect, meditate, treat myself to like a spa day just to relax. It's not selfish. It's actually you owe yourself that. Like you battle life every single day and you show up. So the least you can do is actually show up for yourself and make sure that you take care of yourself mentally, physically, and just overall.
All right, welcome to the Fit Vegan Podcast. I'm your show host, Maxime, and I'm the founder and CEO of Fit Vegan Coaching, a company that is on a mission to help 10,000 people get lean, thrive, and reduce their risk of chronic illnesses by 2033 and 1 million by 2050. I believe that having a fit, healthy body and mind is the foundation to living an incredible life, and this is what the show will give you if you choose to listen and implement. Enjoy the episode and have a great day. All right, good morning, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Fit Vegan Podcast. As you can see, we have a little bit of a different setting today. I'm joined with my beautiful fiancée, Ivy. We're going to be sharing our top 10 lessons from 2023 moving into 2024. So, Ivy, how are you feeling today?
Good.
Good? You excited?
Yeah.
I'm excited to know what your lessons are.
I got tons. I just laughed.
Good. So, do you want to kick it off with your first? We'll just go one by one. You share your first one, I'll share my first one.
Yeah, I wrote notes, though, so I don't forget them. I wrote communication is key as my number one, and it's because I learned open and honest communication usually is the best way to resolve things, especially with us. And when I say that communication is key, it also kind of, spill over different types of relationships, such as, family and friends and all that. So I feel like that's number one.
Beautiful. All right. I like that. I like that lesson.
Still learning. But
it's always work in progress. Mine was that the first one was that, again, they're not in particular order of importance, but distraction is the enemy of progression. So you know that I tend to get very excited about new things.
Oh, yeah.
I love diversity. Like Tony Robbins talks that there's 6 human needs. One of them is diversity. He calls it the spice of life. That's a big one on my list in terms of things that I value, and it tends to distract me from the core things that I'm doing. And so, yeah, just realizing that that's who I am, and I need to not be distracted and find diversity in other areas besides kind of the impact that I'm trying to have in the world.
Perfect. It's beautiful.
All right. Lesson 2.
I embrace change now as much as I
bring a lot of that.
as much as I don't want to. Not every time. It's not easy, right? Like we're creature of habit for the most part. Like you get so like really feel safe and just convenient, and then all of a sudden things change and it's like you either panic or you go with the flow, right? Well, being with Maxime, you definitely change all the time because like he said, he gets distracted fast. So this kind of like, again,
we're going to move to Canada. We're going to move to the United States. We're going to do a triathlon.
Yeah. So he has a lot of interest and it's almost like every second, at least it feels like it. So to be able to embrace change and go along with it or talk about how to move forward together with it is definitely a must in this relationship. And I feel like it helps a lot as long as you're open to it. So yes.
Beautiful. You're becoming adaptable. Great. It's working. The training is working.
I have to.
So lesson number 2 for me is I got that from my good friend and business partner, Justin the Dragon, is stick with the fun, because I have a tendency to, I'll get distracted. I'll want to do a bunch of cool things. Like next year we're doing, I'm doing a half Ironman. Ivy's going to do a duathlon. We're going to hike Kilimanjaro. We're going to do a bunch of cool shit. But I tend to get lost in just working and creating and wanting to grow and wanting to have more impact. And I kind of forget to have fun while I'm doing it, because I end up coming at the end of every quarter and I'm kind of a little bit burnt out, a little bit tired, and a little bit sick of it. And that's kind of where I'm at now, because we're recording this, the week before this podcast comes out, which will be the last week of the year. At the end of every quarter, I start to get a little bit tired and drained. And then Ivy notices it. And that's why we take a vacation the first week of every quarter, was just to completely disconnect from everything and recharge. And so my focus for next year is just stick with the fun, do more fun things throughout it so that I don't feel as burnt out every quarter.
Yeah, moderation, right?
I don't know that word.
I know
I
you
don't know the
do.
concept.
We'll see 2024.
Yeah.
Okay, so mine is basically
For 3, right?
number three. Yeah, consistency trumps intensity for me, right? So there are days I want to go harder working out or faster in bike, but then I get so tired that I miss the next day sometimes because
Yeah.
my body's just like not fully recovered. But if I did consistently, even though I don't like do 110%, that consistency, like you always tell your clients and members, it's consistency
Compounds.
compounds, right? So it also create healthy habits. So it's like second nature to you, right? So you just do it. And as
Yeah.
you do it, it gets easier. So, yep, consistency.
Beautiful.
That's
Yeah.
pretty much
Ivy's
it.
been really good because she told me she was like interested in doing an endurance event and kind of threw her into the mix of me training for a half Ironman. And I was like,
Yeah.
just do the workouts you can do because it is a lot to like train twice a day. Like I'm tired
Yeah.
from it and we're sleeping a lot more than we normally do. So I'm proud of you for consistently showing up
And embracing the change.
and embracing the change. We're
Thank you.
biking, we're swimming, we're running, we're lifting weights, we're hiking. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think they know how crazy our schedule as far as like when Maxim thinks of something to do, like that second. Like it's gonna
I
happen.
don't like delay. I don't like to wait to implement things. Yeah. Um,
What about you?
all right. Third one was to be me fully, or else life will suck. That was my third lesson. So when we came back from Hawaii, I kind of had this big breakthrough and this healing moment,
Right.
and I found like I was playing, as I wasn't playing a character online, but I wasn't fully being me. And the reality is that I'm a very intense person. I wouldn't be able to do the things that I do and have accomplished the things that I've accomplished by my age if I wasn't. If I was just lazy, procrastinating, like, it'd be my life would be very different, not be where I'm at now. Um, and so I kind of lost myself in the process in wanting to grow and change more lives. And I thought that I had to show up a certain way. But the reality is that I do swear I am very intense. I am very illogical sometimes when it comes to reaching goals. I'm like, fuck it, doesn't make sense. Let's just do it because we can do it. My thought process, if someone else did it, then I can do it.
Right.
Right. That's majority of the time it's been true for me. So when I started, surprisingly, when I started saying fuck and I don't give a fuck or I don't care, or I started being like way more intense with my message on Instagram, a beautiful thing happened. A ton of people unfollowed me. And those were a ton of people that ultimately we were chatting with in the DM and never really took action year after year. And then what ended up happening when I started being more intense and just me ultimately, we started attracting way better members in the program. People that are actually action takers, that are actually doers, that are actually doing something and that wanted to optimize and that wanted to improve. So it ended up being a blessing in disguise to lose all those followers. I actually went down. I went down to zero point 0.8 or 32K 0.8 or something instead of 0.9. Like
Yeah.
I just keep losing followers, but the quality of members that comes in the program is incredible. Our members are so fun to work with, and that's what I want, right? I never want people to come in and be like, I think that paying for this will make me do the workout, right? It won't. Like you have to already be doing something. So just fucking incredible. I'll throw another fuck in there.
Bleep.
Yeah. All right. What's your fourth one?
I agree. Fourth one is I learned mindful eating matters a lot this year. I feel like when I started with you in this relationship, I wasn't as knowledgeable, obviously, with plant based eating and how to nourish my body properly. So this year, like like you said, you have a budget, right?
50 calories per day.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for my calories per day, and I need to like really think of what how to optimize that the best way I can to get the fitness level that I where I want to be. So yeah, like I can totally like now eat the proper protein and carbs and fat and feel the difference versus eating crappy shit food and
Yeah.
then suffer the next day because you do feel it. Like I feel weak, I feel like there's no endurance. It's just yeah, now it's mindful eating. It's basically your body's your temple and you don't want to put shit food in it. So I guess that's how I would just
Yeah.
say that.
And it's made a difference in your body composition too, right? Because
Yeah.
when we were in Canada, we were both heavier. Like I was like 205. I'm down to like 190
Oh
now.
yeah.
What were you at your heaviest in Canada? Like 118, 120?
Yeah, hitting 120.
Yeah, and you're 108 now.
I'm 108 and I'm able to wear this dress. That's why I'm wearing it. I was about to throw it away because I was like, oh my God, it doesn't fit me. But yeah, I tried it on today and I was like, wait, it's great. And it's not like I look unhealthy. I'm developing more muscles and
Yeah, you got baby guns now. Show your baby guns. Look at these.
I
Bam.
can't flex right. It's still teaching me. But anyways, I do have more muscles and I feel stronger. It's basically like I was telling Maxime today at the gym, I'm able to lift more weights, push more weights, and I'm stronger than ever with a lot less weight in me. So yeah, it's
Yeah. And you're vegan now too.
great. And I'm vegan for the last 8 months now.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
completely.
So I'm proud of you.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right. So is that lesson 4?
Yeah, that's 4.
Cool. So mine was that sometimes goals take longer than we expect, but if you don't quit, you can't fail. And, I'll just give 2 examples real quick that kind of like really came into reality this year. I shared this on my Instagram story today. I've been doing YouTube for almost 8+ years now. And I used to document my life. I don't do it as much now. It's more like podcast clips. But I have a video where I'm shirtless like a little douchebag 8 years ago on camera. And I'm like, we're going to do our goal setting list for our goals for 2016. And I was in 2015 when I recorded it. And I was like, one of my goals is to save my money so I can go to a Tony Robbins event, right? Because I always wanted to go to Tony Robbins event. And then one was to do a life coach certification. And this year, I did my life coach certification through Robbins and Madonna's, which is Tony Robbins' institution. And I joined Plaid Partnership with Tony Robbins. And we were able to go in Hawaii and have an awesome photo with him. And so I got to meet him. And in my mind, when I set those goals were going to happen in 2016 or in 2023 going to 2024. It took me a little bit longer than I had planned. But ultimately, I never gave up on some of those goals that I wanted, which is why I was able to accomplish them, right? Like I shared earlier, consistency compounds. So that consistency over the past like 8+ years is what got me here. And just the last example is, we're 3.5 years into Fit Vegan Coaching. It's going to be 4 years in April. 700+ people that we've helped transform, right? That wouldn't have been possible if we didn't show up consistently every day to help our members transform and get them incredible results. So yeah, you can't fail if you don't quit. And sometimes things take a little bit longer than planned, but at the end of the day, like that's how I put it to Ivy. I always win. I always get what I want. Sometimes it takes me 10 years longer than I expected it, but because I don't give up, I ultimately get the thing that I want at a certain point. Yeah.
Yep. Good for you.
Yeah.
I'm a believer.
What happened? We're hanging out with Tony Robbins in Hawaii. It's crazy.
Yeah, no, the stories you told me, it's definitely from the ground up to where you are. So
yeah, because that video I showed you on my YouTube channel, I was sleeping in a closet. I had a queen mattress in a closet, no windows, and that's what I was sleeping in. Yeah, it's on YouTube. Everyone can see it.
It's fun to see where you were 16 years ago to where you are now. So congratulations.
Yeah. Little hippy dippy.
Yeah.
All right. Lesson number 5.
So my number 5 is prioritize quality time. And it's so easy to say that, but applying it in real relationship like ours, we had to talk about this not too long ago.
Yesterday.
Last night. It's different. You spend a lot of time, but doesn't mean it's quality, right?
Yeah.
So we're both on our phones and we're just distracted with everything else, even though we're sitting next to each other.
Yeah.
It's not quality. We're not communicating. We're basically in our own little world, just like physically together, right? So I do want to improve that next year.
Yeah.
And I did realize that we are doing a lot of those, even though we're really good at quality time when we want to.
Yeah.
But there's still those
vacations, date nights, everything. Yeah.
But just in applying it daily.
Yeah.
Versus on vacation, right? So that's something simple that everyone can do. Just like put your phone away and just like really talk to each other.
Yeah. So we came up with a rule yesterday to shut off our phone at 8 p.m., I think. All right. Because to me, the reason I leave my phone open later at night typically is because my parents, I get to talk to them before they go to bed, but they're 3 hours ahead. So they're in bed by 8. Yeah. So yeah, great lesson. I'm happy to implement that
I'm
next
just
year.
Learning this last night.
Hey, it comes and goes. It's never like perfect the whole way through, right? Like there's some bouts where we're really good, and there's moments where we're super busy and we get really distracted and we're stuck in working.
Yeah.
And then we have moments where it's slower and we're good with it again. So I think it's just consistently putting an effort towards it.
Yeah, and I think like people go, "Oh no, we spend a lot of quality time together because we're together." So
Yeah.
that's where it gets kind of like clunky, right? It doesn't mean you're spending quality.
Yeah. Also, I'm excited for our trip at the end of the year, beginning of June of the year. No
Yeah.
phones. No phones.
Okay, try.
All right. So lesson number 5 for me, pick the right partner. To have the space where you can go and recharge and tackle the world together. You know, it's funny, but I never thought about what was the purpose of a relationship until we went to Hawaii and kind of did all these exercises with Tony and his wife, and it kind of just all became clear. I was like, shit, that's why people in a relationship, you just, I was like, I love you, you're beautiful, and let's be together. And then you're together and like, oh, I want to be with her forever. You be together forever. But to really understand that like a relationship is a place where I can be truly fully me, all the aspects that the rest of the world doesn't know, and same for you, that we can come together and just be vulnerable and be just genuinely our weird selves, and then be able to recharge and go back into the world. Like I never understood that before. Right? Because before, like I personally always had to put a front because Jen was sick, but I couldn't, even in past relationships before that, I was always putting up a front. So to be able to come with you and not have a mask or not trying to be anything besides myself, and be able to, because it's tiring to have that mask on.
Yeah.
So to be able to recharge and then go back into the world honestly makes you a lot stronger. And that's why it's important to have an amazing partner like you. She's mine. Don't take it.
You're mine. I own you. Like,
that's Ivy's favorite game. I own you, or I win. Whatever game we play, she's like, I win. I'm like, you lost. No, I win.
That's my favorite game to play. Anyways, it's my world.
Yeah. All right.
Okay. Well,
lesson number 6.
Number 6.
Yeah.
This actually brings a point to what you were just saying. I wrote embrace vulnerability. I discovered that when you're vulnerable, it's not a weakness, but a strength, right? So opening up to you and being my authentic self brings that safe haven to me, right? Like I can be myself and I can show you all my weaknesses, and yet you still love me for all that and support me to be better. So it's not like I always need to build that wall to be tough and always be like, you don't see me hurting or you don't see me being weak, right? I already showed that to the rest of the world. That's what they see. But having a partner who I can be me is so important. Or even like for people out there, if you don't have a partner, have a friend, a family that you can be vulnerable and like just spill the beans and, help you out however they can. So you're that person to me, and of course my mom. She might listen to this. I love you, Mom. It's
Your mom listens to the podcast. It's great. Beautiful. So yeah, that definitely tied in perfectly with it. Yeah, because it did take us a while to kind of go to that place and open up. And obviously we got to know each other at the beginning, and then you kind of work into it. All right, 6 for me is I wrote, pick the game that you want to win. You can't win them all. For me, it was, training for Ironman, training to be an athlete versus playing the game of business so that I could have more impact. I realized that I couldn't do both at the same time, because over 3 years ago, when I stopped training for Ironman, I stopped competing, I was training really hard, a lot harder than I am now. And when I had this idea for us to kind of do this next year to have more fun, which was going to be the theme for next year, have more fun, I was like, I'm going to do a half Ironman again because I really enjoy triathlon. And then I contacted my coach, Nick, and he said, start creating the training plan. And I was like, man, I don't care about time when I do my half Ironman. Like, honestly, just want to have fun. Like, I want to go in the water, open water, swim, enjoy myself. I want to bike. I want to have the GoPro. I want to get some footage. I want to enjoy the run. I don't want to feel like I'm going to die and not be able to walk for a week after. Because after we did I think a week or 2 of training of really intense, because originally the goal was let's try to qualify for the world championship.
Yeah.
I was so tired that I couldn't focus to my full ability on Fit Vegan and to have the big impact that I wanted to have in the world. And I was like, man, I have to pick. Like, do I want to have a greater impact and grow, the fit vegan community? Or do I want to put all my energy into trying to qualify for the world championship, which, ultimately we have to make a living. Like, I'm not going to make a living out of being a triathlete. And I'm not going to go pro, at least for, if I try to, maybe another 10 years,
Right.
patient enough to do it, but I don't care as much anymore. So basically, yeah, pick the game that you want to win. I'm doing triathlon because it's fun. I don't have to win anything. I don't have to like hit a certain time. I don't care. I just want to do it because I love how I feel when I train for it. Mentally, it makes me feel good. And I just love being outdoors and training. And I'm going to focus on the game of business and having more impact. And that's a big realization kind of tied in with distractions that I said earlier.
Yeah, that's beautiful because you don't have to prove anything anymore, right? So this is just like
it's
for
just
you.
Yeah, it's just for fun. And like at the end of the day, if I try to prove myself for time, well, the game of comparison will kill you because the ultimate comparison is the world championship and the first person that won. I'll never get to that point, So yeah, I have no desires to care at all. I just want to have fun with it. Yeah.
Good. I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah. And it makes training for us more fun because if I actually wanted to do time, like I'm a dick when it comes to training. Like
He'll
in my
be
sleep.
by himself training.
Yeah. I'm not if I'm training for something or want something, I'm not the nicest when I'm on that
We're
path.
gonna live in a separate home.
Yeah. I'm gonna sleep in my altitude tent. So I can train my body. Yeah. All right. Lesson number 7 for you.
So this is really important for me because this is what I think it should be. Rest is part of the process, right? And you talk about rest, recovery, and all that good stuff. So I learned that rest and recovery are as important as the workouts themselves because I did experience that this year when I'm too tired. I don't have a lot of sleep. I didn't eat the right food. My body's just not rested. And I usually go downhill. Like either you get sick or like I'm just sore for the next few days and I can't perform like just daily activity. My focus is so out of it. So resting, I prioritize now, like lots of sleep.
And you're tracking it with your Whoop.
And I'm tracking it with my Whoop, and I have about 98% recovery the last couple days. So I'm really, really excited and I'm able to push myself even more. So for you guys out there, it's not just push, 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 like rest and recover. That's like will optimize your health, which I learned from Maxime.
Yeah. And you got good recovery this year.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm excited about that. And I'm excited to go move forward the next year knowing all this.
Yeah. Yeah. It's good. Cause yeah, like we talked about this morning, like if I sleep 4 hours, I feel stupid. I can't focus. I've like, my brain is like left and right. You don't want to train. You can't focus on the right thing. So yeah, I'm happy you prioritize your sleep because that made things a lot easier for me. Because when we first started dating, you weren't prioritizing your sleep.
No. And I usually stay later than you do too. Like either I'm on my phone or computer. But yeah, like I've gone my whole life not really prioritizing sleep. Like, like sleeps for the week. Somehow that's the mental like thinking when you're younger. When you get older, it's a different story, right? Like your body's telling you just go to sleep because like the next day you can't function as well.
People are gonna say like, "What do you know? You're only 30." We're not gonna say Ivy's age.
Exactly.
But yeah, well, I'm 30. I'm 30 now, and I've known the importance of sleep and I've prioritized it, but a little bit different. I'm 50 years old inside. All right, lesson 7. So that was 7 for you, right?
I believe so.
Okay.
I didn't number it. Sorry.
Okay, that's all right. So 7, don't have too many masters. That was a big lesson I learned this year. So when you have a dog like Mr. Tempe, you guys can't see him on camera, but Tempe, come here.
Down.
Come on, wake up from your nap.
He's napping.
Come here. Maybe we'll get a peek of his head.
There you go.
Oh, he's stretching, little boy. Okay, you guys can't see him on camera. Oh, you're a good boy. All right. So when you have a dog, if he has like 3 or 4 masters, he doesn't know who to answer to, and he's more confused than anything else. One thing I realized this year is having too many mentors in very similar areas can be more distracting and confusing than actually helpful. And so, I had my fitness business mentor, I had my life coach, I had Tony Robbins, I had a few other things going on. And I've decided to kind of simplify down to 2 people, basically, for the next year. just because it makes it easier to implement the information that you're having. Because if you're having information from, 3, 4 different sources, you don't have enough time to implement everything and you don't know what to implement. And so I realized, like, have one coach for one specific thing, another coach, like have a coach for your fitness and your nutrition, have a coach for business, have a coach for finances. And that way you can take direct information from the best source possible for that specific area of your life that you're looking to improve. And adding to that, don't try to optimize 10 areas of your life at once, right? Wholeheartedly, if your finances suck, if a lot of areas of your life are not that great, the number one area that you should improve is your health and your fitness, right? Because I wholeheartedly believe that having, and it's in the intro of every podcast, that having a healthy and fit body is what will give you a solid foundation upon which to build an incredible life. Because if you can master your body, everything else becomes easier. So that's my lesson number 7, is just don't have too many masters, focus and simplify it.
Sounds good. It's also very expensive.
Yeah. Yeah. I've spent in Canadian dollars, probably like multi 6 figures in mentors and coaches this year, to be fair. Yeah. Which is crazy because some people get upset at me when I say that I spend this much money on coaches and they say that they can't afford to do that.
Right.
Man, I started going to the library and renting books because I couldn't afford to buy a book.
Yeah.
Couldn't afford to buy food. And then I rented books and then I implemented what was in the books and I made a little bit of money. Then I bought the actual book. That was a game changer. Right. If you guys don't believe me, everything's on my YouTube channel. Like, I've been documenting for 8 years. Literally, you'll see me sleeping in a closet. You'll see me hitchhiking. You see me through the whole process. Like, this, can't make this shit up.
Well, you're resourceful. So that's number one.
Yeah. My dad always told me when I was younger, he's like, I'll say it in French, but he says, utilise le système R. So use the R system, which basically means be resourceful. And yeah, that's how I grew up.
Especially this time of age, right? Where everything's available for you for the most part. You have technology, you have books, you have people around, social media. It's like so much to learn and just grab for free.
Yeah.
So, yeah, learn. And then when you start making money, then start searching for those next level professionals that will help you focus in whatever that you want to do, right?
Yeah.
And the return is what, 10 times usually?
Yeah, it's pretty great. It's a pretty big return.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's, don't, I say, like, never get upset at people investing in themselves to become better, regardless of what the amount is, because if they're able to invest that amount, they're not stupid people, right? They've done pretty well for themselves to be able to do that. Like I said, my first mentor, like, some people want to work with us, not to make it about Fit Vegan, but some people want to work with us and, like, I can't afford it. We had members take loans, drop 50 pounds, get a promotion at their job and make more money, right? They understood that once they took care of their body and their health, everything else would improve around them. My first mentor, I put it on credit card, right? I have it tattooed on my finger at $34.37, which was 1/100th of the payment that I needed to make. Got an extension on my credit card, paid for it, had no money for food. I was going to lose my apartment at the end of the month and just fucking did it, right? Made it work from there.
Right.
So sometimes you just have to invest in yourself and believe in yourself that you can actually get it done. So anyways, don't want to talk more about investing, but you want to go with lesson number 8.
Okay, wait.
So basically you have 3 more left on your list.
So I feel like balance is key. And I think this is very important in every aspect of your life, relationships, family, job, if you have kids, just balance. There's things that people want to do so fast and just extreme that in the long run it's not sustainable, right? So we teach our clients and members this for Fit Vegan, that they can speed up the process, however, like, for example, losing weight, but that doesn't mean that it's going to be sustainable, because some things are not meant to just go super fast, right? Sometimes slow is like better, or at least
It's
like
pretty much always better for most
consistency.
things. Yeah.
So the balance of just making the time, like getting sleep, spending quality time with your family and your friends. Don't forget friends. They're there to support you too. And then,
The good ones.
having a pet. So yeah, as long as you you balance everything, and however that looks right for you. So some people can find balance in themselves, doing meditation or whatnot, like just balance.
So no, I agree with you with the balance because we tend to go to pretty like extremes
Right.
together, mainly because I push for a lot of things and I'm a very impatient person. Um,
No.
yeah, a little bit. Something like that's who Gary Vaynerchuk says that. He's like macro, and he said macro speed, micro patience. Something like it's maybe it's your first micro speed, macro patience. But basically, he's be like take a lot of action, but know that it's going to take a really long time,
Right.
right? And you'll get there faster than if you take barely any action for a very, 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 very long time. And so at the end of the day, I think it's come down to priority. Like what's important to you? So to me, like obviously you're important to me. My health and fitness is important to me. Our members of Fit Vegan are important to me. My family, my parents and my brothers are important to me, and then my friends, right? And so I pretty much prioritize in that order, right? A lot of things that are outside of that, I don't do, and I don't care. I have no desires for it. But because IV fitness and fit vegan is such as like pretty much at the top of the list, it's why I'm able to have, I think, more success in those three areas versus if just say relaxing was a part of my priorities and my fitness and health was all the way at the bottom, I'd probably be overweight and out of shape, right? So I think it just comes down to priority, and that's the balance you want to have. I don't think it's having balance between like 15 different things, but balance between like the top 3 to 4 things
Yeah,
that you care about. Yeah.
exactly. Yeah, set your priority and then keep them balanced.
All right.
Mine?
So, no, we just did yours. So mine, eighth one for me. I'm keeping track. I have numbers on mine.
Sorry, okay, what's yours?
Eighth is implementation over reading and learning more. So I don't know for you guys, but I think a lot of books that my audience would read, you guys are listening, would be like self-development books, right? Or nutrition books
Yeah.
or fitness books. At the end of the day, I've read hundreds of them, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of those books. They pretty much all say the same thing at the end of the day, right? And there's genuinely no book that you will read that will completely change your life. The thing that actually changes your life, at least what I've discovered, is when you actually implement what you read, all right? And so I feel like a lot of people get stuck in this cycle of like reading a self-development book, reading a nutrition book, reading a fitness book, reading a book on finances or whatever it may be, on relationship. But it's not because you read a book on relationship that you'll get better at relationship, right? If you read a book on relationship and you implement the things that you learned, then your relationship has a chance of improving. And so I feel like I've consumed a lot of content. I will obviously not stop learning, but I don't want to put a big emphasis in 2024 on reading more, because I'll be honest with you, like a lot of the content that's really good and valuable is super old,
Right.
right? Like if it stood the test of time, there's probably a lot of value in those books, right?
Right.
And a lot of them are really basic principles, but it's so simple that people don't think that it's the answer. And so again, lesson for 2023 moving into 2024 is just more implementation. And don't worry about having the full picture before you move forward, because that's it cripples a lot of people, right? You just get frozen. You're like, I don't have all the information. I can't move forward with this. Just
Yeah.
start, and then you'll discover what's missing, right?
You're like overloaded with information, right?
Yeah.
And it's
Analysis by paralysis, paralysis by analysis. Yeah.
something like that.
Something like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
The
And
French in me comes out sometimes, and I lose the
information
order.
overload, and you don't know who to listen to or what to implement because there's just way too many out there.
Yeah.
So narrow it down to a more consistent learning type thing, right?
Yeah. Honestly, just take action. Honestly, if you a lot of people think that they need to have a ton of information before they start on their fitness journey, on their health journey. I have some people that follow me because of business, on their business journey. Man, if you just put out something, if you just do something, you'll be like, you just go to the gym and you're like, I don't know what this machine does. Let me just research what this machine does. You don't need to know what all the machines do, what all the muscles do. Just start with one machine. Oh, that's cool. What does this machine do? What does this next machine do? Just research that one. Eventually, you'll get to learn what you want. And if you want to be efficient, I was going to say smart. I'll use the word smart. If you want to be smart, pay for the knowledge, pay for the speed, right? Like you can go to the gym and work out and do group classes and nutrition and do a shit ton of research or trying to become a health professional, which ultimately you'll never be able to catch up to me because we're transforming hundreds and hundreds of lives every single year. So you would have to have that experience on top of it to gain the knowledge that I have, which most people won't have because it's hard to transform hundreds and hundreds of people every single year. But just pay for speed, pay for knowledge. That's why I have mentors, right? I go to them like, hey, I want to do this. Or like, that's stupid. It'll cost you this much money. Don't do it. Do this instead. I go, great. You've just saved me thousands of dollars. Right. So, yeah.
Consistency compound.
Yeah. All right.
Goes back to everything else.
Lesson number 9.
9 is, this is very important. I suggest every single person that listens to this actually apply it. Set boundaries. I know.
What kind of boundaries?
In everything. You can, set boundaries amongst your partner, your friends, your family, your work. Prioritize your me time. Basically, it's this, right? Like, you first. You keep saying yes to people because you don't want to hurt their feelings. We both know, you and I are so much alike in that, because we want to help as many people as possible, and it feels good. Like, there's no doubt. But then you're draining yourself, and you're forgetting that, like, you yourself needs to actually fill that cup. And when it's not, because you're so, like, you spread yourself thin to everyone else, then you can't give the best to yourself and to others, because you're no longer capable of it. And you don't notice it because it's a daily thing for you. It's just a habit of saying yes. But once you start saying no, you'll get some looks, and people might not like it because they're so used to you saying yes to them. But at the end of the day, you can't give your all if you don't have what it takes to actually, like, fill yourself up with everything, energy especially.
Yeah.
So now I'm more careful with my energy and what I give out to people, because that's the way I'm going to optimize myself. And to be able to help others, I need to help myself first. So,
yeah, protect your energy, because if you have more energy, you can have a much greater impact at a larger scale. And yeah, people will be hurt, but honestly, they'll find someone else. If you say no, like, genuinely, if you say no, they'll ask someone else. I got this little story. I used to work at Subway when I was younger, and my manager at the time, because I was always a good worker wherever I worked, and she was like, "Hey, can you come in because this person's sick?" And I would come in. "Hey, can you come in because this person's sick, or this person has an emergency?" Blah blah. And I would always come in. But the thing is, like, I was working like long hours back to back for like 12 days plus straight. And I was like, "Man, I'm tired."
Yeah.
I'm like you're just constantly asking me for those shifts. She's like, you can say no, right? But I'm like, yeah, but when you talk to me, you make me feel guilty. Like, if I'm going to say no, right? But she's like, well, it's your job to say no. That stuck with me forever, because I was like, you know what? Next time she called me, I'm like, no. And then she found someone else to come in for the shift.
Yeah.
And that served me so much, because if someone asks you for something, you can just say no. If it's going to take up some of your personal time, your time with your partner, your time with your family, your time to work on projects that you care about, or just time to do nothing, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes doing nothing is super valuable. You can just say no, because you need to recharge your batteries. So yeah, it was a valuable lesson. She's like, you have the power to say no. I was like, oh, bitch.
That goes a long way too, because you'll gain respect from others, because they know that, you're setting boundaries, and they'll learn to respect that. Now, if they don't respect that and somehow took offense out of that, then they're not the people you want in your life in the first place, right? Because I expect other people to have their own boundaries. You will never abuse it if you're a real friend or family, right?
Yeah.
Like, you will respect that, and you will actually, like, be mindful of people's time, especially. So in our relationship, we set boundaries from the beginning, and still setting boundaries as we're evolving through this, which is important, because if we're not, we're just going to be in each other's throat. There'll be no respect. He'll close the office. That's boundary. Like, don't talk to me right now. I'm busy, yada, yada. All right. But I respect that, because it's doing work. So if there's no boundaries, then there'll be no efficient work that will be done.
Yeah, I think we talked about this in another podcast, but we set some pretty big boundaries when we first started dating, right? I think like our first date, because it was a long first date, but within our first date is like, I was like, I never want someone that's going to dim my ambitions, right? Like, anyone that wants to dim my ambitions that I have in my life is out, regardless of who it is. And you kind of had a similar conversation with me of what you wanted, and as if someone was against that this person is out as well. I'm like, cool, we're both clear that we're not going to limit each other in the shit that we want to accomplish and the impact that we want to have in the world, or else we're both out.
Right.
Yeah. And I was like part of our first date, so you can see the tone that we have for a relationship, but that was important to me.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. All right. So that was 9 for you, right?
Yep. What's yours?
All right. Me, there's a little bit of a swear word in it, but it says, be patient as fuck. Most things take a lot longer to accomplish than we think. When we work hard and let things flow, we make less stupid mistakes. So I realized that a lot of the stupid mistakes that I've made in my life were because I rushed things.
Right.
Yeah, because I wanted things to happen faster than they were naturally supposed to happen.
Right.
And that caused me a lot of pain, a lot of trauma, costed me a lot of money. Yeah, I thought about that the other day. I was like, man, like all the big trauma events I have in my life, the ones that were like some of the hardest, because I was such in a hurry to get something accomplished. And I found that when I kind of let go, things tend to happen smoothly, which is kind of what I've been doing for the past like month and a half. And just to put it into analogy, swimming is the same thing. I don't know if any of you have ever swam. I've never seen Ivy swim in 2 years of being together. Can't get her to wet her hair. If you swim and you try to swim faster by just trying to muscle your way through it and spinning your arms faster, you're actually going to go slower. If you want to go fast at swimming, you have to go smooth, slow, and strong. Right? You have to like put your hand and then push properly. If you're just trying to go too fast, your hand will just cut through the water and you won't get any propulsion.
Right.
But it's the same thing in life. Sometimes the harder you try, the more turns you're trying to do, the more activity you try to do, it's just, you're just slowing yourself down. And I think there's a natural flow to certain things happening. And if you just are consistently showing up and doing the work, eventually it will happen. And so just reminding myself that I don't need to trash the water to try to go faster. I just need to have a smooth stroke and move forward.
Yeah, it goes back to balancing, right? Everything, just making sure that it's not rush. And I totally agree with you because working for corporations and brands back in the day, like a couple of years ago, for skincare, and we rush things just because you want it out, right? And there's so much more mistakes that happens when you do, and it's like it'll cost you more than if you would have just done it the proper way and slowly but
For
surely.
sure.
So it's costly and it's mistakes, right? Sometimes you can't redo them. So, yeah.
Yeah. There's not a lot of cheap things and fast things that last, that don't end up costing you more in the long run.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's great.
All right. Lesson number 10, the last one.
Well, this year, I think the most that I've learned is just taking care of myself. Right? I used to think it's selfish to think of yourself first because there's so many people that you want to help and that's relying on you. But taking time to just like reflect, meditate, treat myself to like a spa day just to relax. It's not selfish. It's actually you owe yourself that. Like you battle life every single day and you show up. So the least you can do is actually show up for yourself and make sure that you take care of yourself mentally, physically, and just overall self-care. So I dedicate a full day starting next year. Now, usually like a Sunday on a weekend, right? We do like some of this stuff together. So
yeah, or when I'm working out. I was working out with my Tony Robbins coach Colin, and I was like, I'm gonna go get a massage instead.
Yeah.
So she went to go get a massage. I agree with you. I feel like I mentioned it in the master class we did for the Fit Vegan master class. Like self-love is, yes, getting a massage, taking time for yourself, but at the end of the day, it's taking care of your body, how you're treating it, and what you're putting into it. Because if you're going to get massages, but you're going to stuff your face with like Beyond Burgers and chips and ice cream, that's not true self-love, right? So Ivy's doing all the foundational work, which is she's exercising, she's eating healthy, she's moving, she's prioritizing her sleep, and she's getting the massage, and she's taking some alone time.
Tempe and I hike.
Yeah, while I'm running.
While you leave us running.
Ivy and I tried running together. I can't run slow enough to keep up with her. So I got long legs.
I'm not extreme, like I said. Slowly but surely, I'm working my way up there. And so is Tempe. So
Tempe's a fake. No one knows that, but Tempe's a fake athletic dog. Everyone's like, "Oh my god, he's so pretty. He's so explosive. He looks so athletic." Tempe will like you start on a run because Ivy is going to have him because when we start running, Tempe will pull her with the leash. We have something around the waist, so he actually pulls Ivy forward, and then like
for like 10 minutes.
10, 15 minutes in, Tempe's behind, and we have to drag him.
Now I have to pull him.
Yeah, he acts like he's a super athletic dog, but he's not. We have to drag his ass every time we go for a hike.
He's a good dog.
Yeah. All right. So lesson number 10 on my side. I think just, focus is going to be the big lesson for this year. And that's going to be the theme for next year, focus and having fun. Because I've spoken to a lot of my friends that have built very successful businesses that have had a lot of impact in the world that I personally want to have as well with the members. Because you guys know we're on this mission, which again, it's at the beginning of every podcast, but to help 10,000 people get lean, thrive, disease-proof their body on plants by 2033 and 1 million by 2050. It's a pretty big goal. And so what I've realized with some of my friends that had a lot of success is they didn't get there by building 5 different things at the same time. They got there by focusing on one thing and doing it really, really, really well. And it took them a long time to be able to get there, right? So 2033, I'm going to be 40 at that point. And then 2050, I will be, what's an extra 17? I'll be 57 years old at that point, right? Hopefully that was a good math. If I'll be around 57 years old by the time I get there. So I'm giving myself a lot of time to be able to reach these goals. But I realize that I won't be able to get there if I try to build 5 different things at the same time. So I'm taking full ownership of owning Fit Vegan as obviously the coaching program, but as the brand. Labeled myself Mr. Fit Vegan. I'm taking over the vegan fitness industry, and I've done a lot in the past 3.5 years. So watch me go next year because people aren't fucking ready for what's coming.
Ooh, I can't wait.
Yeah, it's gonna be good.
So in that note, wait, I'm done with my number 10.
Yeah, me too. That was number 10.
So what about 2024? Give me your top 3 goals.
Top 3 goals. I would honestly love to get the podcast to be at maybe 50,000 downloads per month. That would be pretty cool. So next year, putting a bigger emphasis on the podcast, I'm going to record 2 per week. And I have a massive list of some really freaking awesome guests to come on the show. We're leveling up the quality. My office set up with the podcast studio. We're going to do more podcasts in person. I'm just focusing on the podcast next year. So yeah, just get to 50,000 downloads. That would be it. I would love to, obviously for us to buy a house next year. We could now, but I got no papers, so I can't buy anything in the United States. Yeah, but we're getting married soon. But I can't buy anything right now. So I'd love to own a house. I'm a little bit tired of renting, but you and I have traveled a lot, so it's been kind of convenient to do that. And then the last one is I don't know if they do that, but I'd love to be published in Men's Health as one of the I'll be generous with myself, top 10 vegan fitness coaches in the world. I'd love to be published in Men's Health magazine. I think that'd be really cool.
Yeah, I think that could actually happen.
Yeah, I don't doubt it. I just have to figure out how to get in there. But yeah, those would be the three big goals for next year. And ultimately, just by doing the podcast, we're going to be able to help more members transform. By having more stability, it'll bring in more focus. And then the Men's Health thing, it will just be a really cool thing to accomplish. Because I used to read those magazines when I was younger and I wanted to build muscle. Yeah. And now being vegan, there's no example of that online, right? And obviously I don't look like Nimai, but I'm super athletic and obviously have a good brain and are able to help transform a lot of people. So
who's your favorite of all times fitness person
that's vegan or not vegan?
Well, we'll just go with the looks because that's Men's Health, right? Just physique.
Who I grew up watching that I don't want a physique like that because it's a little bit too big for kind of how I like to live my life. But Steve Cook. Yeah. Do you know who that is?
Yeah.
Yeah. So Steve Cook was who I looked up to growing up when I wanted to get bigger. Because he still has an athletic body, but he's not a big mass monster. Right. But honestly, I love being the way that I look now because I look nice in a suit. I look nice in clothes. I can, I can bike, I can run, I can swim pretty efficiently and pretty fast. And I love feeling athletic versus when I was really big and muscular and you're just butt's too big. You're just hitting shit left and right. And yeah.
I love the confidence.
Yeah. I like how I look. I've been doing this for a long time.
I like the way you looked.
Hey, thank you. Yeah, I've done every single body type you can think of. I've been
Right.
super jacked. I've been shredded. I've been all of it. This is my favorite. This is why I stay like this, right?
Yeah.
When I try to do a bulk to prove that you could put on muscle, I went up to 205 pounds. I felt like shit. I was lethargic. When I ran, I was like a heavy sack of potatoes. My favorite expression.
He
Doing
did
pull
feel
ups
like
was so
shit,
heavy.
but he felt so good, like a big bear.
Yeah, I was a chunky bear. Yeah, for sure.
Only if you can combine two.
Yeah. So what's yours for next year?
I, working on my skincare brand. So
Yeah.
hopefully 2024 is the year to launch it. Again, it's taking slower than I thought. And that's because I want to make sure everything's perfect and I don't regret anything I put out there because I'm standing behind it. So other than that, you and I to get married and build a home
whenever
together.
the paperwork comes in.
And then just diversified my fitness. So like maybe I haven't done yoga in a while. I really like it. I might add yoga next year and Pilates and then still do cycling and running and weightlifting.
Yeah, because next year we have a Spartan race in January together.
I thought mine was March.
No, that's your duathlon. So we have 4 events. So first one, January, at the end of January, is a Spartan race. It's a small one. I'm going to do it with you. I'll put you on my back. I'll carry you. The second one is a duathlon. You're doing a duathlon, which is a run, bike, run. I'm going to do a triathlon while you're doing that. And then I'll finish it so fast that I'll finish the run with you. I'll come back and finish it with you. And then the third event for me is I'm going to do a half Ironman. Your third event, which will be my 4th event of the year, will be doing a marathon in September.
Right.
And then we're aiming to hike Kilimanjaro hopefully in December of next year. It's always been on my bucket list. And I was like, why wait till I'm older and not able to do it? I want to be able to be on top of there with you. So yeah,
Can't wait.
Those are the events for next year.
Well, I like all your 2023 top 10 lessons learned. And
I like yours too.
And 2024 goals to reach. So I'm going to write it down and then we'll crush it and then talk about this at the end of the year again next year.
Yeah, we'll do a recap. You know what I should have done? I have a lot of personal goals. Last year, I made a big blue poster, right? And I wrote all my goals for this year.
You checked it off?
Yeah, I've hit maybe 90% of all my goals that I've set for myself this past year.
Good for you.
Yeah, which is great. The things that I didn't reach are out of my control, like us getting married, right? We're just waiting on paperwork. One was, potentially have money to buy a house, which we kind of do, but I spent it on Tony Robbins instead.
There goes the down payment.
Yeah, that was more than a down payment on a house. That was a third of a house. But yeah, so I kind of relocated the money to join Platinum Partnership with Tony Robbins, which was worth it.
Yeah.
Which was great for a relationship. We went to the Hawaii trip. Yeah. So guys, I want to say, I don't hold you guys any longer. We've been at this for, an hour, almost an hour now. My longest podcasts are with you. Yeah.
There's so much to talk about, even though we're together 24/7.
We love talking on camera. So yeah, if you guys want Ivy more, just let me know and we'll do more, maybe a reoccurring show with her. She might have her own show as well.
Oh yeah.
So that's going to be, if it does come out, I'll let you guys know. But I'll say massive thank you for listening to this episode. This is the last episode of the year. So a late Merry Christmas and early Happy New Year's. Yes. And, wish you guys have an awesome time with your friends and family. You actually take some time to recharge and you gear up for an exciting 2024 because, I want this to be the year for you where you actually transform fully. And so by 2025, you're in the best shape of your life. And so if you want some more information as to how we can help you do that, like the 700 plus people that we've been able to help, there's a link down below where you can book your free introductory call with our team of goal setting coaches. I believe we have some spots for like end of January because we're pretty much like already now we're pretty much at full capacity for pretty much all of January. So the more you wait, the more the start date will be delayed. So just book your call right away so you can get some information and see if we'd be a good fit to help you transform. Have any things you'd like to add?
No, just sending love and happiness and health from our family to yours. So.
Beautiful. Thank you for tuning in, everyone. Happy early New Year's, and we'll see you in the New Year's. Bye.
Happy New Year.